Hello traders, welcome back to the channel. This is Vishal and you're watching the weekly sectoral analysis. On the left hand side you can see the daily time frame chart, and on the right hand side we can see the higher time frame charts, which will be usually the monthly and the weekly charts. So as of now we can see in the Nifty future monthly chart the trend continues to remain up, and the RSI is also looking pretty alright. No negative divergence visible over here. Let's have a look at the weekly time frame chart. In the weekly time frame chart, what we can see is these two candles are showing a little bit of wick over here. This particular candle is neither a high wave candle, neither a bullish bell toll, but still it shows some sort of downside wick over here. This is a big red candle with a downside wick. So it clearly shows that near the level of 17,468, 17,450, there is some sort of support coming up. And the reason for that is, you can see first we had a 61.80% retracement. So we could see two different wicks. I'll just try to highlight that particular point. You can see this first wick over here and the second one. All right. This third wick, I think, is in relation to the same particular wick. And there is one more thing which is present in the daily time frame charts. Let's have a look at the daily time frame charts. Now, let me zoom out over here. Now, if we zoom out and if we check properly, we have this particular Fibonacci retracement. All right. And after that, we have an extension of 127.20%. So what we can see is this particular trend line has been holding on since pretty long. I think it is holding on since September 2020. This was the first time, September 24, 2020. This was the first time it was tested. Second time it was tested in June 2022. And this is the first time I think the big rally started in Nifty futures few months back. And we are again near the same trend line. We have not tested it as yet, but it seems that we are hovering around that support band. The current market price in Nifty futures is 17,560, and the support is around 17,470 to 17,400. So this is an entire 70 points band. From 17,470 to 17,400 is a pretty extremely strong support for the Nifty futures in the medium term. In terms of trend, now if I check the weekly time frame chart, the trend is flat, all right. But in the daily time frame chart, the trend is down. Now we need to understand over here two things. Just because there is a support over here, I would not say that we will bottom out over here and we'll have a very good rally. We need to understand as traders that which sectors are bullish as of now. I'll come to that point obviously later on in my video. But there are very, very little amount of sectors which are looking very, very good and creamy for the upside trade. Correct? So what we need to understand is, as a trader, we need to keep an open mind that in case if this particular level is hit, then we might consolidate, we might bounce back. If we might bounce back, then till what extent will that bounce back happen? I think that I will have to cover up again in my next video when that bounce back actually starts. This is the first thing. Second thing is, if we close below this particular trend line, we will need a very good close. We will need at least 1% close below this trend line properly, or at least couple of days close below this trend line. Then we might hit the next level, which is at 17,295. But again, as I said, that we'll need to close below this trend line. Before that, it's not going to happen. All right. And this is not a very good time to probably go short. This is actually a time that if you're already short, because somewhere over here, I think the, breakdown happened in Nifty futures, and especially on this particular day, you can see the 22nd of February. This was a nice day probably to initiate few swing shorts and probably then book partial profits on the next day, because markets are moving very fast and we broke an important support on that day. So if someone is holding short positions on the downside, then one should probably look to book at least partial profits and trail the stop loss and then wait and see what happens in the market. But this is certainly not a time to initiate few new shorts in the Nifty futures. Let's have a look at the Bank Nifty future. Bank Nifty future, things are a little bit different. You can see a bit more clarity over here. You can see again 2 wicks, and this wick is coming due to the 61.80% Fibonacci retracement over here. All right. And you can see again very, very strong wicks over here. But this does not again mean that we are probably going for a bottom out, because after a big strong hammer, again we had a red day. Now, what is currently happening in the early time frame charts? Let's have a look. I think in the early time frame charts, even if we did open gap up, we did open gap up near a resistance band, and the lower end of this resistance band was around 40,690, and that is the reason we saw this particular sell-off happening in Bank Nifty futures. Okay, so it's pretty much visible as of now that the trend is down. It's looking pretty weak. It might happen that for the next couple of days we could consolidate in Bank Nifty futures. All right, and after this consolidation, if it manages to close below 39,603, all right, then the correction on the downside might continue, and the next level to be tested could be 39,073. In terms of trend, if you look at the weekly time frame charts, the trend is flat, and if you look at the monthly time frame charts, the trend is still up. And in fact, this is really surprising that we have tested a very strong support in the Bank Nifty futures. So again, people who are holding short positions in the banking stocks, please book partial profits and only then keep trailing your stop losses, because going for the big haul or going for the big profit is not the way you should be trading right now, because markets are trading near important supports. All right, PSU banks continue to look weak. Yes, there is some sort of, you can say, higher low in RSI, but this is certainly not a, you can say, a positive divergence. This is not a positive divergence, but this is a sign that the the strength of the momentum on the downside is getting slightly weaker, and we have also tested this particular gap in the weekly time frame charts. Generally, finding gaps in weekly time frame charts is very rare, but yes, it is visible over here. The trend will continue to remain down. Closing below this recent low obviously will trigger new downside levels in PSU banking stocks. If I look at the Bank of India, I think you can see that the trend continues to remain down. The swing short somewhere over here, it got initiated at 537 or probably lower. One should look at booking partial profits. Second stock which I would like to talk about is Bank of Baroda. Bank of Baroda is showing bit more momentum, and the possibility is if it sustains below 153, it will continue to probably test on the downside around 146, 147. But again, this is not a time to initiate a new short position. This is the time to book partial profits, because the time to go short probably was on this particular day when the actual breakdown happened in the stock. All right. Fine. Let's have a look at the private banking pack. Private banking pack in weekly time frame chart, the trend is just flat. It's just going up and down. There is no point of talking about it. In the daily time frame charts, you can see that there have been a couple of times when there has been a small bounce back over here. The first bounce, this was a pretty large bounce. The second small bounce came on this day, which was on 23rd of Feb, I'm sorry. But the second day, in spite of this very good, beautiful pullback, we could not have a big green candle. And we saw a big red candle, which is very, very disappointing. So it seems that things are not okay. Again, closing below this particular low will lead to lower levels. There is one stock which I would like to speak about, especially IndusInd Bank. This stock, in terms of percentage, this was a very large pullback from 987 to 1171. Very large pullback in terms of percentage. So we can see that it has already retraced till 50%. this is the next important support, 1058. If this particular support is broken, we might continue to head lower. If this is not broken, then a small pullback might be possible. But again, it will be a question that how large that pullback will be. That is what one needs to understand. Again, I think booking partial profits is very, very wise. Kotak Bank, I think I had shared negative view on Kotak Bank in my previous educational video that if it breaks 1740, then we might see lower levels. And you can see that Kotak Bank has tested sub 1700 levels. Makes sense to book partial profits. Rest, I think people can trail the stop losses and book at your own comfort level. All right, let's have a look at the metal pack. Now, metal pack suddenly seems to be looking extremely weak. You can see especially this low has been broken. I'll just try to highlight it. You can see this low has been broken. It was one of the strongest sectors in the entire sectoral indices. Disappointing to see that it has broken this particular low also. Looks weak. Even the pullback which happened over here, the consolidation, the pullback was not very, very strong. There were some technical signs, certainly, that a decent pullback would be possible, and probably after a pullback, one could, get some chance to maybe go short for swing trades or something, or a short-term momentum trade. But that was not possible because the momentum was so strong on the downside that the support was broken just in a couple of days. This is the first day. Then one day we had a green candle, but again, it's not bullish. And this is the second day, which is again a large candle. So overall, the stocks are looking weak. One stock I would like to talk about is Tata Steel. Being the leader of the pack, it has not been able to underperform that much in comparison to other stocks, but looks weak. I think you can say that closing below 108, currently it's 109.75. Closing below 108 will lead to probably 106 or maybe even sub 105 levels. So a short-term momentum trade on the downside cannot be negated over here. IT pack. Now, one needs to be very, very, very careful while dealing with this particular sector. Now, why I'm saying that? First thing is that the trend in the weekly charts is up. The trend in the daily charts of the IT pack is flat. Currently, you can see some sort of profit booking coming over here. And why I will say that one needs to be careful is because in the recent times, in recent few months, the rally in the IT pack has never been one way. Okay, it has never been one way. It has always been one leg up, second leg down, again a leg up, again a leg down, again a leg up, and then suddenly we are on this particular resistance. And on this resistance, we can see a high wave candle and then a red candle. This is not a bearish candle, but yes, it's not a positive candle also. Now, in the daily chart, we can see that even the RSI is not extremely powerful over here because it was never ever possible to surpass 70. And one important thing over here is we can see the negative divergence in RSI, certainly over here. Okay. So some sort of consolidation and profit booking could be possible. So as a positional trader, people will be lucky who have been able to book at higher levels in stocks like TCS, which rallied pretty nicely. So one person as a trader, as a positional trader, you need to hold these stocks with trailing stop losses in your positional trading systems. If the stop losses hit, just get out of the stock and exit. If the stop is not hit, and if there is a bounce from here, and in case you have not participated in the IT pack on the upside in a rally, in a very strong rally, I'm talking about a pretty decent rally. I'm not talking about just 1 day pullback or a 2 day pullback. If some decent rally for 4, 5, 6% in this stock starts, and you will have to time this particular entry from lower time frame charts. If this happens, probably you will be able to fancy your chances as a swing trader. But again, as I'm saying, one needs to wait for the confirmation from the price. Just because something has come down doesn't mean that it will go up. All right, just take this thing into consideration. All right, let's have a look now at the auto pack. Now in auto pack, I would say that things are looking pretty strange because The entire auto pack seems to be showing stock specific movement. Now, if I have a first look at Tata Motors, this was one of the strongest looking stocks, but somehow it has not been able to, go at higher levels. And I think I had shared a positive view around 447 and around 432. I think the view got negated, and currently you can see the stock is trading at 427.75. The second stock, Maruti, is still holding pretty well in comparison to other auto pack, but it is not starting to rally. It needs to rally with a big green candle, with a very confident green candle. Then only one will be able to initiate swing long trade over here. The other stock which I would like to speak about is M&M. In M&M, one interesting thing is visible to me. Just give me a second. Yeah. Okay. So in M&M, what you can see is the monthly time frame charts seems to be not pretty much okay, because we can see a negative divergence in Mahindra and Mahindra monthly time frame charts. If I go to the weekly time frame charts, we can see that it is consolidating and probably entering a flat trend currently in the weekly time frame charts. Now you can see it is near support area in the daily time frame chart, and the trend is down. So if Mahindra and Mahindra stock continues to close and sustain below 1268 or 1265 for a couple of days, you will see lower levels on the downside. So traders should be pretty much vigilant in this particular stock. Second stock which I would like to speak about is Ashok Leyland. Ashok Leyland, again, in terms of trend, I think certainly you can see the prices below the dual moving averages, but I would still say that the trend is flat, because there has been not much rally over here, and just before the rally started, suddenly we saw a drop down. So many times, it can happen that stocks just go up and down in the weekly time frame chart. So it's very difficult to actually say anything about it in the weekly time frame charts. But in the daily time frame charts, certainly you can say that this particular low is broken, and we have tested a support. Closing below this low of 139 will lead to the next level of possibly 136, 135. Finance pack. Finance pack, I think it's very sad news that this particular important support has been broken. This was holding on for many weeks, but this has been broken. And in the daily time frame charts, you can see it is just about to break this particular support also. So once we have a close below this low, you will be able to see lower levels coming up in this particular finance pack. If this low is not broken, again we will be able to see some consolidation happening in the finance pack. Real estate looks one of the most weakest sectors as of now. You can see the momentum in this particular sector. DLF looks to be one of the weakest over here. An entire realty pack looks to be weakest. But again, this is not the time to probably go short. In case if there is any pullback in the real estate pack, which it will happen at some point of time, because prices are pretty much away from the moving averages, and some consolidation might happen. So one will have to wait with a lot of patience, but keep watch on this sector consistently day in and day out. After a pullback, after a consolidation, when everything, is pretty much, you can say that after a consolidation, when volatility cools down, again, you should start looking at these stocks, because you might be able to find one more chance for a swing short in these real estate stocks. But it will take a lot of time. It will probably take few days to few weeks for this to actually happen. Pharma pack. Pharma pack, again, it's looking weak. It has broken this particular low. You can see over here. First stock I would like to speak about is Sun Pharma. Sun Pharma, in terms of trend, in the daily time frame chart, it's down. In weekly time frame chart, it's consolidating. It's still holding on the support. So as I have been saying about this stock since many weeks, closing below 963 will lead to lower levels, and I would continue to say that. Second stock I would like to speak about is Divi's Laboratories. Divi's Lab has tried to give a decent pullback over here, but I don't think this pullback is pretty much enough for this stock to consolidate and start a new trend on the downside. So one should keep this particular stock in the watch list. After a decent pullback, probably one might find chances to go for a swing shot in this particular stock. But again, it's going to take time. It's not going to happen very, very soon. FMCG pack, I think it's responsible for the markets to fall less. You can see that Nifty has no doubt come down. But still, since the ITC and Hindustan Unilever's, these stocks are holding on properly, that is the reason why this particular Nifty futures has not fallen that badly. Personally, I would say that ITC was looking a very good swing long on the upside if the stock would have consolidated and probably come down. But I think enough amount of consolidation did not happen. I'm certainly not a person who would like to initiate trades at extremely high inflated levels, especially when prices are hovering around important resistances. And there is also one more thing visible, that there is some sort of negative divergence. So again, I would do nothing over here. I would wait patiently. In case if this stock starts to come down, I'll wait very, very patiently. And when I find this particular stock at a favorable level to initiate a swing long, I'll probably try to do that, but it's going to take few days. It's not going to happen any soon. Consumption pack continues to look weak, and probably this trend will continue to go down. And be careful if you're holding any long positions in this particular pack. Infra pack, I think, is one sector where I can say, if you can find any stocks to probably initiate a swing shot, then it would be a good idea. But be very, very careful. Trade in only high probable stocks on the downside, because Nifty future is also not exactly at the support, but trading near the support level. So you'll have to be very, very specific which particular stock you're picking, and be careful in your position sizing also. And do not initiate too many trades. Just one or two trades here and there is okay, because you need to be careful when you're initiating short-term trades. Knowing the levels is very, very important. Mid cap index in short-term trend, I think in the daily chart, the trend is down. In the weekly time frame chart, you can see that we are still consolidating. I would not like to comment anything till the time this particular low is broken. Once this low is broken, you will see the mid cap index going on the downside. All right. I hope this video has helped you to understand how markets might perform in the next few weeks. And if you have any questions, you can surely drop below the video. I'll try to answer them. Take care and trade wisely.